We're live. We're not on Facebook today, by the way.
Oh, why not? Are we finally banning Facebook from our list of places to be on?
Well, I think Facebook did something. Like I tried to put the stream on there, and it was like you're banned from doing this, but like it's not. I'm not banned because my account isn't banned or anything. It's the weirdest thing. It makes no sense. I think their crap is broken on their end, and you know what? We don't get that many Facebook viewers.
Tim, we'll miss you, Tim.
Well, I think he's like one of like a few people that goes. They can click on the link. They got YouTube. They know we got YouTube. Everyone's got YouTube. Come on.
Everyone's got Facebook open.
Everyone's got Facebook. Yeah. Well, I mean, that's because we're old. We're a bunch of boomers. Where are we at? No one. We got a few people. No one's come in yet. We'll wait a little bit before we kick off the.
Let's do that.
Yeah, Black Widow was good, man. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it a lot. I enjoyed. It's that's an article that said it's the closest Marvel or Disney or Marvel will get to a Bond flick. Hey Dan, yeah, welcome back. You were on vacay.
Hey, welcome back, Dan. I Facebook stalked you on the vacation, so it looked fun. Yeah. Black Widow's the closest we're going to get to a Bond flick. Is that what you said? Disney
to a Disney or a Marvel-esque Bond flick or whatever.
I mean, I guess that was kind of a Bond flick. The villain wasn't as prominent as a villain should be in a Bond flick, but
yeah,
the family widow aspect was really funny and enjoyable. And while Scarlett Johansson had no chemistry, the rest of the family did, which cracked me up.
Yeah, you noticed that too. Let's talk about that. We'll talk about that in the show a little more. But we'll talk about
what up,
that.
Rolls? Thanks for jumping on. Welcome to the show.
Let's kick it off right.
The Mid-Geek Crisis.
Let's go. Welcome to Mid-Geek Crisis, episode 133. I'm Joe. Tired. It's already Tuesday. Is it Tuesday? Wednesday? Is it Friday already?
What is time, really? Who cares?
I work from home now. I don't every days it just bleeds into. We're just trying to get to Friday.
A big old mosh of death.
Yeah, it's what it is.
Gosh, I'm Pedro, cautious online, and this is my timeless friend Joe, the Afro Man online. Welcome to the Mid-Geek Crisis.
Oh man!
Thanks for jumping on, Dan and Rolls. I know Dan is interrupting his vacation to join us.
No, I think he's done. He got home.
He's done.
Come across. Yeah.
Shout out to cautious.
That's a great shirt there. Yeah, I think we started the show off a little bit. We're talking a little bit about Black Widow and wanted to kind of touch base on that on our thoughts. That's a good subject to kind of kick it off on. I went with no expectations, right? It was a movie that it looked like Disney had pushed back. It's a character that we don't know if we'll ever see again in live action.
I mean, we won't see Scarlett Johansson again as Black Widow, but comic book movies are a revolving
right. Well, I mean, yeah.
Are we talking spoilers? All right, so that's interesting. Is it too soon to talk spoilers?
It might be too soon, so we won't talk about the movie more so than like it's chronological placement in the MCU. How about that? And it's pretty much.
All right. Yeah. Sure.
Yeah. I mean, there's no spoilers in that. I mean, it's Black Widow, right? So the synopsis of the movie is it takes place between or right after Civil War. So in the time frame between Civil War and when she shows up on, I guess it's Infinity War. No, which one's the one where they break everyone out of jail at the very beginning? They break them out of the.
That's one of the Avengers, isn't that the first?
The
first of the two final Avengers movies.
Yeah, so Infinity War, I think is what it is.
I don't know.
I can't remember anymore.
Here's my review. It was enjoyable romp without getting too tedious. The fight scenes were great. The explosions were great. I thought the characters were great. I mean, no one really dialed it in. But it's a good spy movie. It was a pretty decent spy movie, so I enjoyed it for that aspect.
Yeah, Dan, that's a good thing. Although when you say that it didn't tell us any more, I mean, I don't know if there was much more that we needed to know. The breakdown of the character is she was a Russian agent. She defected. She became an Avenger, and then her backstory is just trauma. Like it's depressing trauma is what it is, and like that's all we got. It was just more of a rehash of like, hey, by the way, this is what happened. She was
Can
a
we
kid.
talk about how all the female superheroes are trauma and all the dudes are rich? Can we talk about that for a second? Can we?
Go
Can we
for
talk
it.
about that for a
Run on
second?
that one.
It was a very self-contained movie. It didn't have much effect on the MCU. That is totally right. It was like revisiting a character we enjoyed. It'd be like watching Iron Man 1.5, right? It was
right. Like, hey, let's go back. Let's make another Iron Man movie.
And let you
between a time point, and we get to enjoy a piece of Iron Man.
PG-13 Red Sparrow, was that the?
Yeah. So Salt, Red Sparrow. The plot point of this movie was a plot point that seems to be kind of cliche for the Eastern European spy
like
female.
That Red Room thing,
the Red Room. I mean, yeah, the Red Room. The like, hey, let's take these little girls and train them as assassins, and we, like that seems to be a pretty common cliche. Can we call it that now? Yep. Like it seems to be the case. All this movie made me want is a second Atomic Blonde.
So they already remade Salt. Yeah. I mean, yeah, except with a Marvel reskin, right? That's what these were. Yep. Salt. Yep.
Yeah.
Atomic Blonde was dope. Well filmed. Excellent choreography. Perfect time period.
It's a great. We watched that one a lot in the household.
I've seen that one quite a few times.
Put it on constantly.
It's excellent. Rolls to say, feel free to spoil it. Not paying $30 to watch it. I didn't either, so
I think Dan watched it too. So I mean, we won't.
There are ways to get it without paying, gentlemen. Just for the record.
Yeah.
Yar.
I bought it. I mean, we were gonna.
Of course you did. Thank you for buying it because that helps pirates like me find a way to watch it on our own. So
I bought it because we were gonna go to the movies anyway. So I popped in 2 bags of popcorn, melted some butter, poured it on some popcorn, sat down, had some coffee, and watched the movie.
In-house movie.
In-house, cranked the home theater and the OLED, and just went to town. It was great. So yeah, it was $30, and basically I bought it, and my dad shares my Disney Plus, so I said to him, I'm like, hey, I bought it, so you can watch it.
Go watch it quickly, right? Yeah.
Yeah. It belongs to you once it's part of your account.
Oh, I thought it was like a 48-hour kind of thing. No, you own it forever.
Yeah.
We went to screen 2 at the Clifton. Congratulations, that's awesome. You saw it in the theater. There are some scenes that probably worked way better on the big screen, so that's pretty sweet.
Yeah. It was nice. Like the whole movie.
We're coming at you live from the Huntington, PA, screen 2 at the Clifton 5.
Screen 5, number 2 at 8:45. There were 37 minutes.
Come fight me. Right here. This is where you come fight me. Come fight me.
This says a lot about Philly.
What row and seat numbers, Dan?
Were they recliner seats? Did they? Oh, man. No, the movie was great. I enjoyed it. But you're right. It was exactly like you say. It was one of those movies where it just feels like it was a movie about the character. So let's talk about repercussions of the MCU, because the MCU in general, that's the cliche or the common theme of any MCU series, movie, whatever. How does it progress the story of the overarching story, or how does it affect the universe that is the MCU? Right?
It did nothing.
So it does and it doesn't.
We can talk major spoilers if we want, but
right. So the major spoiler is the stinger at the end of the movie, right? And if you don't want to hear about that, go ahead and pause, mute, whatever, and you can come back in about 5. But yes, so basically the stinger is this. We've got our sister, and again, character names. What was her name? Do you remember? Yelena, right?
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, Yelena. Yelena's she's visiting her grave, right? She's visiting. So this obviously takes place after Endgame. So now we've now been transported at the end of the movie into what is the current time period of the MCU, and she's approached by what's her name? Valentina, I guess was her name was. It's
Valentina, the V.
Yeah, yep. Yeah, the V. Yeah. So she shows up, and if you're not familiar with that character, Val, right. She shows up, and if you're not familiar with that character, you didn't watch Falcon and the Winter Soldier. So that's where she's introduced, and she's kind of, from what I'm gathering, again, I'm trying not to spoil it by just throwing comic book junk into it, but from what I'm gathering, how they're playing her is she's kind of like a a for hire. So they're kind of making like a Marvel version of a Suicide Squad, or a Mercenaries, or the Dark Avengers, or the Thunderbolts. There's a couple teams in the Marvel universe that kind of play that.
She's a Nick Fury wannabe, but more like
right. Well, the
hero for hire kind of thing.
DC is known for having the Suicide Squad, right? Take villains or
is that what they're known for?
Well, just DC in general has their villain or their team that does good things, or they do the things the heroes won't do, and that's what the Suicide Squad does. In the Marvel universe, there's been a few teams like that. So it's the Dark Avengers. Mm-hmm. There is the Thunderbolts, which was led by Norman Osborn, and a couple other villains and whatnot were in it. But there were a team that were kind of contracted by the government to do the things that the heroes won't do. That sort of thing. So it looks like that's what she's doing. She's like a mercenary or for hire, so she gives missions. So right now, confirmed, we know she has U.S. agent under her belt.
Well, that's a spoiler. Thanks. No, I'm just messing with you.
She's got U.S. agent, the wannabe Captain America from the show that was ousted, and now she's got. We look like she has her version of Black Widow, which we don't know what her name is going to be called. Right,
right.
She could be Black Widow. Maybe she's something else. She is a widow. I mean, that's what.
We don't get more of Red Guardian. I don't want to live anymore. Right?
That's I know, right? Can we talk about that? Can we just talk about how much I have a giant geek boner for David Harbour?
Man, the MCU is getting almost as convoluted as Westworld, and that's my friend's. Rolls, is this your first introduction to comic books? I'm just gonna. I don't know how many comic books you've read, maybe one or two.
I watched the comic historian. It's their YouTube channel. I've talked about them on the show before. You know, it's a good way to kind of go and watch a video and them explain the whole story arc. They explained a little bit about, or they explained kind of the history of Kang the Conqueror, right? And
right.
And halfway through the video, he goes, "If you're still with me after all of this, I commend you, because it is like the most convoluted, batshit crazy."
Because Kang the Conqueror goes across dimensions, and that's already
dimensions and times and multiple versions of himself, and so like he's already kind of and so they've now introduced that character into the MCU.
What I love is the idea of a dimension-spanning villain that has conquered entire timelines and destroyed things, and he shows up, right, and he's going to be defeated by like Black Widow. Right, it's always like hilarious to me.
Well, that's the best part about this villain, because he himself isn't that powerful. He's powerful because he's controlled time enough that you kill him once and he just shows up again for another version of himself. So that's
Danny. Yeah, you're back. We're crossed over to Loki. You're free from the. Wait, no, you were the one spoiling Black Widow. What am I talking about here?
So yeah, I mean, no, I'm actually not even spoiling that, because that Kang wasn't in Loki, right? That was someone else. The villain is yet to be determined.
Ludicrous. That's Kang.
Well, it's
the one that won, or the one that got away.
Yeah,
right?
the one that remains, lived? Right?
Is that the one who lived? Is that what they called him?
Remains.
The one who remains. That's it.
He who remains. Yeah,
that's it. Oh no, we spoiled Loki. It's impossible. What's a Rio? Thanks for jumping on.
It's been a wild ride. I mean, the MCU in general, it's been nice to kind of get some of that. It's been a few years. It's been almost 2 years now that we've had like Marvel movies. Like the shows and the Black Widow is kind of nice to get that geek cinema pumping again and back into the lexicon, you know. So.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm with you. I mean, I'm excited to just watch some movies again that are big budget and pretty cool. As soon as nerd properties start doing time travel stuff, I make like Homer and back my way into the bushes. Or your brain, right? That's the thing where you're like,
I love it. I love it only because it's Deus Ex Machina, right? It allows the writers and the creative makers to just go, you know what? No, we could just rewrite that shit because time. I mean, that's the obvious culmination of any superhero genre, right? Like, there's no way that you can get that character back or a new version. Like, how do we introduce Miles Morales into the MCU? Well, obviously through time, multiverses.
It's easy.
You know, we made a whole movie about multiverses. I mean,
it allows the characters to have no stakes,
right? But it's comic book characters; they have no stakes.
There are no stakes.
See, that is the nature of comic book characters. Like, they kill it off. Oh no, Batman's dead. What? Oh, I'm Batman from Earth so and so.
Or you have these like moments where like you have like 7 different Superman titles with all different Supermans, right? You've got like There you go. Well done. Locally better, basically set it up for the What If series. You're exactly right. Yeah.
Yeah.
You get these characters. They're wonky. You guys. You guys.
Love it. Good marbling.
Good marbling. That's exactly right. That's exactly right. That's good stuff. So yes, welcome back to the MCU. And I mean, none of us ever left the Disney ecosystem, right? So,
no, we have not. We have not. We just bounced from one rock to another on Disney Plus. We're moving from Star Wars to this to that, back and forth. So
yeah, it's
whatever. It's fantastic.
Whatever.
I recommend, again, my final word on Black Widow. Go watch it. If you can pay for it, go to a theater on a Tuesday night or whatever, and go watch it. In back row, get away from people if you're still, really being.
Yeah, it's enjoyable and it's small enough that you like. It's short enough that you can like really get into it. It's like
It's an isolated movie. You watch what you watch. When you're done with the movie, there's no stakes.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. There's no stakes.
It's all bacon, baby.
Less of an assumption. Is it a spoiler that Loki almost did himself? Almost.
I'm pretty sure Loki's. I mean, no, absolutely. That's a common trait for Loki's. Loki should do Loki's.
I like that they're like, what's happening with the time? What's happening with that timeline spike? And it's like going up, and I'm like, we all know what's happening with that timeline spike. Everybody, come on. Everyone was freaking out. I think we talked about this last week, actually, right? So
we did. We talked about this.
So Loki was great, very enjoyable. I don't even remember what I'm watching now, right? I finished up Black Widow, and that's it.
Well, I mean, what's the next big thing, right? There's all sorts of stuff coming out. It's exciting. The gates have been opened. The movies and cinema movies the trailers are hitting. The movies are coming. It's yeah.
When does Suicide Squad hit HBO Max? Isn't that hitting HBO Max at some point?
Yeah, it comes out August. So it comes out August like 19th or 20th or something like that. But
yep, Dune new character posters were dope. Something that's wild about Dune is that like there is a tabletop role-playing game for Dune, right? Which I'm like, okay, that's great. It's on Roll20 for people to play online, right? So
really?
Now, so if we wanted to play in our group, we could play Dune the role-playing game. Subtle hint to our fans: if anybody wants to run Dune the role-playing game, I would love to play it. Right? Let's do that. Let's get it done. Ria watched the Space Jam 2 movie. How to go?
Yeah, we're going to talk about that. I have not watched it, but I definitely want to talk a little bit about the controversy between that, or the stupid news. Right? Like it's a movie that's we'll talk about.
Is it controversy?
It's for geeks, right? So there's always. So we've got some new character posters for Dune.
Sweet. Yep. Awesome. Love it. Great so far. Good stuff. Splendid. Duncan, Idaho.
And there's about 52 more posters of Duncan, Idaho.
That's good because there's a bunch of them. Bring on more. Does any of them without his shirt? Let's objectify.
I don't know. Here we got
this guy contemplating his role in Star Wars.
He plays Daddy.
He plays Daddy. They're all the same age. That's the part that cracks me up, right? So
yeah, they're mostly the same age. Stilgar over here.
Such a good Stilgar.
Javier Bardem. So good. He looks great as a gurney. He's grown a lot on me.
Yeah. I feel like I see him in too many movies at this point. Awesome. Good. It's the Baron. Bring it on.
The Baron. Yeah.
Love it. No Beast Raban?
No poster Raban. No poster for Raban. No.
It's bullshit.
Bring in Fade and Raban, baby.
Rolls is saying he's heard a lot of bad things about Space Jam 2, but definitely watching it this weekend.
Yeah, so Space Jam 2, man, it's
I love that nerd compulsion where you're like, it's terrible, but I can't wait to watch it.
It's a train wreck. It's a fucking train wreck.
That's exactly right. I like your gumption, Rolls.
So that's an interesting thing. How is it in 20 million years that there's because what's funny about the whole Dune universe is that if you go far enough back in the timeline, you can actually link it. Like there are families that start on Earth and they've kind of progressed. And so that just happens to be one name that might have been one person that might have done something important.
It may have been the same Duncan Idaho based on the
story, right? Like, right,
yeah. What did they call it? Golems? How many times? What did it brought back so many times?
Yeah, he can be brought back. Yeah,
For the nerds that have read the book, just for you fellas, all five, by the way.
We haven't gotten that geeky on this show yet. I mean, like the moment we have a whole like hour-long episode, digging through like all of Dune.
Children of Doom and Child Emperor. No, come on, that's too much for our fans. We would lose the 7 we have. Even my mom wouldn't watch.
She'd be like, "Oh, they're talking about Leto the Second. Oh God, it's an hour-long rant on the God Emperor."
Rio,
himself.
Yes, I agree with you. Space Jam 1 wasn't that great either. It was like that perfect movie.
Space Jam 1 is a terrible movie, folks. Yeah. It's a terrible movie
because you speak the truth. It's that time though, Pergamene. That's the time. This now
Everyone's
is the era.
Got nostalgia glasses for Space Jam. Space Jam is not a good movie. It is a movie. It is a movie of childhood. It is a movie that had Michael Jordan. It had Looney Tunes. It had Bill Murray in it. It had Wayne Knight in it. Like it's a movie where you watch it.
A pair of sneakers.
You watch a pair of sneakers. You watch a couple of Gatorade ads where they relabel it to MJ Secret stuff, and you watch a bunch of pop culture. I mean, for God's sakes, at one point, what is it? Elmer Fudd and Daffy, I think, both they pull out guns and do a Pulp Fiction reference.
Oh my god!
In that movie, like what I'm saying is it's exactly the same. Like, but everyone's like, oh no, well they went too far there on this movie. They do too many WB references. Why wouldn't you? It's Warner Brothers. They've got a giant stable of like.
I see they did a Matrix reference.
Yeah, there's a Matrix reference. There's all sorts of like any Warner Brothers property movie. They've brought in all sorts of there's like 15 different Jokers in the background from all the different movies that they've CGI'd in.
Rio, it made an impression for our era. That's a very good way to put it. Yep.
But what did it do for our era? Like that's the thing, right? So like when we talk about it as like it made an impression for our era, but right.
I literally never thought about it until I saw that there was a Space Jam 2 in the works. Like I literally never saw it, forgot it, never thought about it until the new Space Jam 2 came out, right?
Yeah, I mean, Space Jam it's pop culture. What do we call it? It's just like it's FUD. It's like this. It's just like it exists. Therefore, everyone knows of it. Everyone knows about the movie that with Michael Jordan and a bunch of Looney Tunes.
It's like Shrek. Hot take.
I don't know where you're going with that take, but if it's hot because you're trying to compare them both as equal, no.
Yeah, you're like
no.
There was no Space Jam 3, 4,
there was
5.
no Space Jam 4, 5. Right. It was a movie that it was. What a lot of people forget is Space Jam was created because of the popularity of commercials. Like he had a pair of Jordans that were popular, and they had Looney Tunes as kind of the commercial. They had this commercial with Bugs Bunny and Michael Jordan in it, and it got so popular. They're like, "Hey, wouldn't it be great to make a whole movie based off this?" And they made a movie based off of it. So like everyone's saying, "It's so many commercials." They're like advertising to us, and I'm like, "Yeah, that's what the first one did."
Also, spoilers. That's what they're doing all the time.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
It dramatized Michael Jordan's actually terrible baseball career.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that was back when people were so amazing they got to play 2 sports. That's awesome.
Right.
This is my point. Shrek is also a string of non sequitur pop culture references, but
yes. That's true.
Yeah, so it makes
But there's still a good story behind all of that.
It's okay. We're not talking about Shrek. Let's talk about a very good movie that's celebrating an anniversary. Can we talk about Studio Ghibli's Spirited Away? Today is the 20th anniversary of its release. Did you know this? Studio Ghibli's Spirited Away.
Job. Look at that.
I know a lot of folks get how you say passionate about Studio Ghibli films, right? We all have our favorites. I will fully own the fact that Spirited Away is my favorite, right? So, what's your Studio Ghibli favorite, Joe? Just out of curiosity.
Totoro and
no ties. Don't be a coward, everyone. I want to know your favorite. No ties. None of this one and the other. It is what is
I like Princess Mononoke.
You really Mononoke?
Yeah.
Me too. Are you?
Yeah.
I like it too. You know what I don't like about it? The level of violence is inappropriate for children.
Yes.
So I can't watch it with my daughter yet, right? So Spirited Away was perfect to watch with her. while Mononoke, I couldn't do it. It's too violent by far. I forgot how violent.
Yeah, we watched
in the
it.
first 10 minutes, there are limbs being removed. Right?
Yeah,
it's
the
like
kids watched it. The kids watched it. We watched it together, and they were like, "Whoa!"
Yeah,
and
exactly.
Like, yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, that's what happens. I mean, was it he gets infected with the arm, right? And so like he
that's exactly what happens.
He shoots the arrow and just lops the guy's head off from across.
That's exactly when we had to turn it off because my daughter was like, "No effing way, turn this off, Dad." So we turned it off.
I like how she censors herself. I love that.
Yeah, no, she knows her exact limit. Nausicaa of the Wind is a great one, Rio. That's my first Studio Ghibli film, back 10,000 years ago. Mononoke is Ferngully, but way more intense and powerful. Yes.
Yeah.
Spirited Away is Beauty and the Beast, but more magical and audacious. You're speaking the truth here.
Yep.
I don't like the fact that maybe Beauty and the Beast is my favorite Spirited Away. Right? Like maybe I like whatever. Spirited Away is my favorite from a fairy tale perspective. Mom and Dad will always get mad at me keeping rented Kiki's Delivery Service. Way to go, Rita.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Stealing a rental movie and you're still paying for it. That's
and not only that, it was Kiki's Delivery Service was a Disney movie. Like it was a Disney movie at the time. Like they hosted, which means that if you kept that, Disney movies cost rental companies a ton of money. Yeah. It's a ton of money. So yeah, 20 years ago, Ghibli.
They dropped some new art, I guess. I saw they dropped some new art, some new things here and there. Kiki's Delivery Service, Rayo, Do Not Be a Coward. Which one's your favorite of those two, right? You got to pick one. Howl's Moving Castles. I mean, they're both fantastic. My daughter loved Kiki's Delivery Service. I think if she had to pick one, she would pick Totoro, obviously. She would pick My Neighbor Totoro. She loves that one as well.
Yeah,
but Kiki is one that she asked to watch a lot. Yeah, no cowardly. You have to pick one.
I always forget which is the one at the very beginning. The parents and her show up at a village, and then they eat and they all turn into pigs. Which one is that one?
Spirited Away.
Okay, that one.
Spirited
Yeah.
Away.
So I like that one. That would be like my third or second or third, for sure. It's hard because all of them have to. It's hard to pick one as your favorite only because they all have different messages.
Yeah,
but it really depends on like
that's why the task is hard. Right?
I know. I get it. I know why the task is hard, but it's just it depends on the mood, right? It's favorites also depend on mood. It's like what's your favorite music or band or whatever. It's kind of hard to say. It really depends on your mood, right?
It really does. Yeah, it depends on your mood, but you have to. Today, what's your favorite Spirited Away? I think if you had asked me if you had asked me 8 or 9 years ago, I would have picked Princess Mononoke, right? Because it's a fabulous, amazing movie, perfect for an adult. But I think as a parent, Spirited Away has become my favorite.
Yeah.
Interesting fact: it was a movie that my wife and I went on a date, so we got to see that in the theaters 20 years ago. That's how old I am. Saw it in the theaters.
Nice. Was that English translation with all the actors? So.
Yeah, I think that's what we saw in the theaters. I remember subtitles, but maybe I could be remembering another.
It's a weird one.
We've gone to the theater a lot to see this movie. So
all of them are on HBO Max, right? So they have the entire Studio Ghibli like catalog on HBO Max. It's one of their like perks or one of their things that they have.
Right. Yeah, that's where we're watching them now.
Yeah, and they have them. I think they have them in Japanese and in English. But we watched Princess Mononoke and in English, obviously for the kids because they didn't sit there and want to read them. And man, you can tell how early like this movie is when it comes down to like choosing the celebrity actors, but at the same time, like, hey, we're just gonna voice a cartoon. Like they just see Disney animators see it.
It's not like Tom Hanks coming through as the character.
Yeah,
right?
like
they just sound like you.
They got Billy Bob Thornton as one of their voices, and he's like, it's the most deadpan acting. Like she's just reading off the paper.
Before voice acting was like a thing you can get coached in. And
oh no, what are we gonna do now? Oh, okay, this is delicious. Oh wow. Oh, it's like what is going on? There's no.
It's before Alan Tudyk basically did every single voice in every single movie.
right. Well, it's like it's also a little insulting to like animation voice actors, like actual professional voice actors, as opposed to like getting a random celebrity. Like celebrities can act, but voice acting takes talent.
It's like, there's a different kind of skill set.
Different skill set. So yeah,
we
now take a lot of voices.
Go Astronaut Go, Sword in Theater 2. Can't remember if it was a sub or a dub.
It was probably a
dub the first time out.
Yeah. I mean, we weren't getting the luxury of getting a subtitled Japanese animation movie in the theaters 10 years ago, 15 years ago is like impossible. You never would have seen it. I mean, It just doesn't happen.
Yeah, no,
Unless it was in like an art house film.
An art house like in New York City.
Yeah. It's the only way you would have saw that.
The Wind Rises made me cry. Spirited Away made me cry. That's how much of a sap I am now. Again.
Is it a Studio Ghibli movie if you don't cry? Like,
yeah, no. I cry at these movies. You'd have to have some sort of horrifying heart of stone.
The only man that can make Miyazaki. I mean, that's fair. I mean, he's talented, so for sure.
Yeah, he is. Mm-hmm. He's a trip too. He's a trip too.
20 years. 20 years. I can't believe that.
20 years, man. That's how old we are. At least it's the 20th anniversary of Studio Ghibli. I'd go to the theater. I think if they had it released in the theaters again for 20 year, I would go this year if I could. It's really amazing on the big screen. You really get consumed by this movie.
Really, I didn't know they had seen that. That's awesome. That's great. That's a good movie to get them to watch.
Your mom cried because your dad, like, it's a great movie. My Neighbor Totoro.
Oh yeah, Totoro was great. Yeah, it's a great.
Ponyo made me cry. Look at this. Look at all of you. I love you all. That is fantastic. Look at you all crying at your Studio Ghibli films.
Yeah, I know. It's great. It's great. Those are great animator, great storytelling, great everything. I mean, and we have to think.
Rose, you are missing out, my dude. I almost hate to say it. Never watched any Ghibli movies or any anime movies for that matter.
Rose, yeah. I mean, like, how about this? If you have HBO Max, or if you've got a way to watch them, go pick out one of them. Pick out one or two of them and watch them, even if they're the English, a dub. They're
even if they're the English dub.
Well, the only reason
disdainfully,
it's the only reason I'm like that is because I think the early ones just have really bad voice acting. They're fun to watch and you get a lot, but I think the emphasis in the voices in Japanese just feels better, right? Like, I mean, just Billy Bob Thornton, man. Just Billy Bob Thornton. Like, when has he ever played a role where he actually cares about being on camera? He's always just so indifferent.
Yeah. So Pergamene, I think those are the two very good recommendations to get your taste of Studio Ghibli. If you ever wanted to do it, Rolls or Dan, Spirited Away has. I mean, the imagery in Spirited Away is so deep. Every picture has a ridiculous amount of detail, and this is where you can sort of see why people appreciate anime or Studio Ghibli anime. The amount of level of detail in every single cell of Spirited Away will blow your mind. And that one has more of a linear plot, more of a fairy tale story, right? So you can go from beginning to end. Totoro is kind of like a slice of life kind of thing, which Studio Ghibli is also famous for. Kiki's Delivery Service is great for that. I mean, My Neighbor Totoro is just all good feels. Like, if you're looking for a good feels movie that's kind of coming of age for a family, watch that one as well. It's great. It also echoes a time where, like, kids were just not watched. Like, literally, just not, I'm going to go to work. You're going to be alone. Go check out the neighbor 50 miles away every so often if you're having trouble. So it's My Neighbor Totoro is also that awesome. Yeah, I think Kiki's Delivery Service is my burnout film. Oh, this is the food scene. The amount of detail pumped into every dish in this scene still blows my mind. I've seen this movie dozens of times, and right before the spoilers, right before those pigs show up, there's some great stuff in it.
Yeah. Just wanted to show a little bit of the.
Yeah, that's it, Rio. Kiki's Delivery Service and Spirited Away made me appreciate animation.
Yeah, I mean,
Kiki, I would recommend dubbed, subtitled. Spirited Away is great in both versions.
Yeah, both. I mean, again, never gonna tell anyone how to watch it. Watch it one or the other, however you can. But yeah, I mean, go sit down with your and Dan. You got kids. I mean, go sit down and watch Spirited Away with them. It's on HBO Max. It's a great movie. I mean, at one point Disney had the distribution rights. I mean, Disney themselves were like, yo, Studio Ghibli, your stuff is amazing. We gotta get it under our hat for a little bit.
Yeah, we want your stuff.
And so they distributed it. And so that was the way that you were able to watch stuff like Ponyo and Spirited Away and Princess Mononoke and all of those at the theater, was because Disney was like, hey, they threw money at them and we're like, bring it over. We'll take over and we'll get the American voice actors on it and distribute it. So
it's good stuff. Librata comes in and says, these aren't my taste, but Amazon Prime is DNA 2 or DNA Squared, I guess, and Hulu.
Yeah, I mean,
those are more anime.
Those are more anime for sure. But I think the reason we're talking about it again, it's the 20th anniversary of Spirited Away. So that was the reason why we're talking about Studio Ghibli in general. And for anyone who hasn't, it's a good introduction. Like I said, it's a good introduction to anime. Like, you watch those and you're like, wow, anime can tell stories like this. Like, this is what makes it, right?
And Rio, yes, you're right. The dub wasn't that bad. You're totally right. Kiki's Delivery Service dub is actually great. I like it better subbed, but it doesn't. You don't lose anything. And
Mary
and the Witch is back.
I haven't seen that one. Or
it's a good movie. It's just so derivative of everything Studio Ghibli does. You could tell that this studio wanted to be like Studio Ghibli, right?
Yeah.
But it's great. My daughter also liked Mary and the Witch.
All right. What else? So let's talk about one of the big stories of the week. We didn't get it happened right at the end of last week. Again, tends to happen always. We have an episode and then they talk about it. Steam came out of nowhere, and we're like,
"Is this really out of nowhere?"
Yeah,
hasn't it been in development for a while? No,
it has. No one talked about it. No one knew about it. This was a very like, I mean, okay. So let's lay down some groundwork. If you're a PC gamer, you know what Steam is. If you don't, and you're just a console gamer, you know that PC gaming in general, they have a few different places that you can buy games. There's GOG.com. There's Steam. You can buy them from Windows. There's a bunch of places that you can download games.
Epic Game Store now.
Epic Game Store now. I mean, Ubisoft and Bethesda and all of them have their own store and storefronts. You used to be able to buy them at places like
right before we went to see Spirited Away, right?
20 years ago. 20 years ago. Picked up my copy of Quake, and went to go see Spirited Away. No, but now the Steam is the storefront, right? And that said, Steam has had interesting ideas about what they want to do with their hardware. They've released a few things. They've released Steam boxes at one point where there were just computers running their own like Steam OS.
A lot of people were disappointed by these boxes.
Yeah, they were just they didn't have the horsepower. Steam OS was kind of mad. People just rip it off and install Windows on them anyway. It just they wanted to compete in the console market, right? Then they created Steam Links, which were just little boxes that you plugged up under your TV, and you can stream your games from from your PC, your gaming PC in your room. You can plug it up to your TV, and they work just fine. They just weren't updated very often. And streaming from your PC is actually great, but you can actually use any computer now. Like if you've got a laptop, even the lowest end laptop, you install Steam on it, put it on your same network. It'll see your Steam install, and you can play your game. So it's like a thin client. Yeah, exactly. So it works like a thin client. So that said, hardware-wise, the next thing that they did is they released the Index. Right, so that was their headset, and it's pretty much the only reason they made it is just to make Half-Life Alyx. Like
there you go. All right.
Like the Half-Life Alyx came out, and it was like made it for the Index. Yes, it works on Oculus, but it works better on the Index. And so that's it. That's all they've had hardware-wise. They just seem to be kind of fringy.
6 things. How do you say that's it? That's
but none of it. All of it's very fringe, right? It's very like
right. They never broke in,
or it doesn't seem to like work. So this one around
means mentioned in the Steam controller,
right. So the Steam controller came out right around the same time as the Steam boxes. So they were like, hey, how do you play PC games on your TV if it's like an RTS or whatever? So they, instead of D-pads, they put giant touchpad circle things that were, a lot of people love them. Like I never tried them out. A lot of people love them. They say like if you got used to it, they could fly through it and they could use them as like a mouse and a keyboard kind of scenario.
Sure.
Wasn't my bag. Yeah. Didn't work for me. That said, out of nowhere, on the day that the Switch OLED decides to like go on pre-orders, they go, yo, by the way, here we go. Here's our new device. And man, out of nowhere, this thing came, and it's the Switch. It is a Switch. It is
a Switch. I mean, can you take those controllers off? No, right? But
no. But it does dock.
That was going to be my first question.
Yeah, so you plug it into a dock, and it's not proprietary. It has USB-C. You can buy any USB-C dock and plug it in and have HDMI.
It's a Switch Lite.
It's a Switch Pro Lite
with a dock.
Right. It's got
connected to your Steam library for some games that actually work on this, right? That's a critical part of it.
No, all games will work on it. Only some of them will work on Steam OS, but even they themselves are like, it's just a PC.
Yeah, but it's not going to run every single game on it. I think I remember seeing that it's not strong enough to run some of the high-end stuff, right?
The specs on it, we've already got people people kind of assembling machines with those specs, and they're throwing what's it called? What's the steampunk game? No, freaking
Crisis.
yes, it can run Crisis. They're running what's it called?
GTA 5 available day one. That's important, right? GTA 5 available on day one. I've
already forgotten the freaking name. It's on the tip of my tongue. It's freaking the Cyberpunk game. Cyber
2077.
Yeah, 2077. Thank you. I was trying to think of the year. It runs that at 720. So the screen on it is 720p, not 1080, not anything high. It's a 720p screen, just like the Switch. It's a touch screen, just like the Switches, so you can input text on it. It's got analog sticks, and one of their big things is like we are trying to avoid any type of drifting issues. They're like engineering, making sure that they can fix that out of the way. They might not, but that's
if they could make it so that it's easy to repair. That would be the step.
Yeah, the top of the buttons also are touch sensitive.
Of course, it runs Fortnite.
Yes, it runs Fortnite. It has a D-pad. It's got touch pads. It's got buttons on the back. I mean, it's just this like weird.
What's the battery life, baby? What's the battery life?
From 2 to 7 hours, depending on the games.
2 to 7 hours.
If you're playing like a heavy graphic intensive game, like Doom Eternal or something like that, with just like tons of graphics.
The fans running.
Yeah. Well, I mean, so if you haven't been paying attention to PC hardware in general, the AMD, which is their Ryzen, their Zen 2 platform, is really low TDP, low total delivery power. They've gotten it to run cool. They can manage it pretty well. They can ramp up to high speeds. It runs from like 2.7 gigahertz up to like 3.5.
So is this going to look as good as like the Xbox, the latest generation of console?
It's got the same chip. That's the big thing. It's got a Zen 2 core in it, so it's essentially the same family as the. It
doesn't
Xbox.
have a lot of space. That's what I remember. It's a real small amount of space on it, right?
And so it comes with 64 gigabyte base for it at $399, and
which is not even enough to run Rainbow Six Siege.
But you can drop an SD card in it, and you can install SD cards out of any size. And the next day after pre-orders, they changed the specs and were like, the internal is just a .m2 slot. So they're saying it shouldn't be removed by the end user. But it is. It is just a socketed hard drive, or socketed M2 drive.
It looks like the Sega. Rita's right on there. It looks like the Sago.
I think she meant Sega, and I don't understand why the. Yeah. So ergonomically, it feels weird. It looks weird.
All the way up there, it looks like it's going to be a little uncomfortable. They want to use those touch pads, maybe.
Yeah. So it's like from the early people that were allowed to kind of play with it early on. They held it IGN and a couple other places, and they were like, we thought it was weird too, but like the way the handles in the back fit, your hands kind of slope further back like this, so your thumbs are more up top as opposed to being forward. So
you can get that space up to 1 terabyte. Says read.
I mean, honestly, it's whatever manufacturers make, right? So if they make an M.2 drive that's over a terabyte, you can put a terabyte in there. Plus, you put a terabyte drive in there, and then put a terabyte SD card in it if you want to. So there you go. You have double. You have 2 terabytes worth of games.
Like so many things I have to put into my system before I can play a single game.
Well, I mean, so 64 gigs. Think about 64 gigs. It is a lot and not a lot, right? Like you can install 1 or 2 games and then uninstall them. You can stream your Steam library if you're sitting at home. You could drop all the indie titles on there if you want. Like a bunch of indie titles are usually pretty big.
Why are we pretending like I'm not just going to play Civ 6 on this?
You can play Civ 6 on it just fine.
That's all that matters.
Yeah.
I was excited at the prospect. I mean, like I saw the price point, and I was like,
$399 isn't bad.
I can play my Xbox Live games on a handheld.
You can.
Just like I thought the Switch would give me eventually. So why wouldn't I do that? Right? That's what I was thinking.
The OG Switch comes with 32 gigs.
Yeah,
it's got a 32 gig built in. The new OLED version has got a 64 gig.
Yeah, but in my head, the Switch is a cartridge, right? I put things in there to play, but I get.
Yeah, but you don't. When was the last time you actually put a cartridge in it?
Minecraft. That was the last. Oh, Animal Crossing. I put in Animal Crossing. Huh. That was the last time. It was a long time ago.
Long time ago. Most of the time you just download.
It was a year. It was in the before time.
You do digital downloads, right?
I do digital downloads. Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, it's looking pretty neat. It's got a 256 NVMe. At 529, and then a 512 one with even faster one at 649, right?
649 is a good price for a portable computer.
Well, yeah, that, and it, like they said, I mean, if you watch their video kind of explaining all of this, they show that it is a full PC. You don't have to keep running SteamOS on it. You can install Windows on it. They even show it running Windows. Like it's almost open for them. They're like, just install Windows and do what you want to do. Dock it, plug keyboard and mouse, and use it as a laptop or a desktop or whatever. I mean, it's neat. It's neat for the price point.
Yeah, it's neat for the price point. You're going to get one. Of course, you're going to get one.
I pre-ordered it, of course.
Of course,
Of course I did.
Jesus.
Well, I mean,
have you learned nothing?
That's the only way you have to put your reservation in. I did like the idea on how they stopped scalping. So what they did is, since it was like kind of a ghost drop, no one knew it was happening. They announced it, and then they said the next day is the day that pre-orders are going to happen. And everyone's like, ooh, all the scalpers are like, yes, let me go ahead and get ready for this. They were like, you had to have had a Steam account active and made a purchase in June.
Oh, before June?
So before June, anything before June, you had to have made a purchase. So and then even then it has to be done through the Steam client. Whoa. And so they definitely made it.
So they figured out, because I know the price point was painful to Valve.
Yeah, right. So that was one of the things business. That they said that the Steam that
they're basically giving these away. We're robbing them. So in my head, I was like, Epic's going to buy 1 billion of them.
Oh, Gabe! And he promptly said this in an interview as he lit his cigar with $100 bill.
I know.
I don't.
From New Zealand, the son of a bitch, right?
Yeah,
come on, Gabe.
Yeah, come on, Gabe. Oh, Gabe. I mean, can it run Windows 11? I'm sure it can. If it has a TPM module in it, it'll run Windows 11.
And it will run Doom, everybody, so you don't have to worry. It's going to be great. It's going to be awesome.
Yeah, it's fantastic. I mean, when I look back at all the games that have come out, even on PC, two generations ago, like cards from two generations ago, can play pretty much anything that comes out now. I mean, and plus, if you can play it at 720p, it'll play it as good as a console.
Can I mine Bitcoin with it?
I'm sure you can. I'm sure you can.
My refrigerator runs Doom. I had to buy a washer dryer, and the washer dryer technology is far beyond anything I want in my washer dryer. Joe, you're a tech guy. I just want knobs on my washer dryer. I don't need touch screens. High temperature,
my washer and dryer plays a whole damn jingle at the beginning and the end of its cycle. Yeah, it plays a whole MIDI file. Doom 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 doom. It plays like 3 verses of it. I'm like,
you're like, shut up, you stupid!
Come on.
So I guess I don't have them. We searched for a washer and dryer that's just knobs. Literally, it was like how much water, how big the load, start and go. That's all we want on our washer. So that's what we picked up.
Maytag, I think, is your best bet for that. Honestly,
no, we went with like the cheap Whirlpool. Is what we went with. The cheap,
nice.
One level lower than Whirlpool. Easy to repair yourself.
Base entry,
kind of basic. No touch screen. Our stove plays Ode to Joy when it gets the temperature.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, they play like full on they play full on music.
It's also stealing your data.
Of course it is. It's mining Bitcoin. It's mining Bitcoin in the background for you.
It's mining Bitcoin.
I mean, what is it? All of these devices are IoTs, right? Internet of Things. So they all have it. I mean, when I turn on my TV, it's got a menu for IoT. And so basically you can, any device that might have that like module in it, you can like control it. So on your TV, if the washer and dryer is an IoT, it'll allow you to connect to it. And it'll.
So this is my question to everyone out there the 5 consumers that answered the LG survey that was like, I really want Wi-Fi on my washer. What did you think Wi-Fi on your washer would give you? Like you can start a wash. You're right, fucking there when you load it.
So let me speak to you in the most like.
What are you monitoring? What do you need to know about your washer?
So if it has Wi-Fi, here is the thought process of the super technology world that we want to live in, right?
For Google Home. So okay, everyone's saying this, but what connection does it
for Google Home, for Alexa, for all that, right? So that's what they want. But check it out. So if your device has Wi-Fi, that means it can report to you and say, hey, you forgot to take this stuff out. It's getting mildewy. Second, you could probably
ignore that notification.
Right, you'll ignore. I know. Look, Pedro, I'm telling you not to throw your fallacies at me. I know that's what we're going to normally do. But what I'm saying is this is what they're for. You put the Wi-Fi on it so that it can warn you and say, hey, notifications, you've left the dryer. We've got a load in here. Do you want me to run a rinse cycle on it again so that it doesn't get mildewy? It can give you, let's say, again, the ambitious world. Clothing manufacturers can actually put codes in their clothes, and like you can download like specific like cycles that they might have tested in. So
Who wants this?
I mean, you say who wants this,
what?
but this was the ambitious
What
world that we
fucking
wanted.
Google Glass wearing a-hole out there is like, I want specific temperature settings for my clothes.
Isn't your state the one that has like the World Fair of like whatever? Didn't your state
the
have
Science that? World Fair?
That was where it was at. Like all that crap is also what the ambitious world we wanted. The flying
making
car.
Laundry easier. Like Rio, I mean, you pick it up, you drop it in the wash, you set it to large load, you add soap, and you're done. How did they make it easier?
No, I get it. I understand it. I'm just
unless it's like, hey, cautious, your wash is done. I'm moving it into the dryer, and then I'll fold it, and I'll be like, yeah, get it done.
So they've been working on that. I've seen the prototypes for that kind of stuff, and they can do it.
I don't need that. Yeah,
it takes up the space of two because it needs the room to kind of
to like fold clothes. I've seen those
clothes. I've seen them, but I mean, it exists, and they're like $3,000 or something like that, something ridiculous.
Yeah,
but
yeah, Rio, yeah, that's it. All I do is pick my clothes up, drop in the wash, and dry in the highest setting.
That's exactly right. That's how you ruin your stuff.
Yeah, but you know what? I don't deserve good stuff.
I don't deserve good stuff.
Yeah, exactly. With the amount of notifications, no way.
With the developer mindset that I have, sometimes I think about the idea that we all asked for this, and then once we gave it to you, you all ignored it. And like, you don't know what you want. You don't know what you want.
Dan saying, my washer holds detergent and adds to loads automatically. Would love for it to text me when it's low. So would you ignore it?
No, Dan is actually asking for that setting. He says he would love for it to text him.
Dude, I don't
want that
at all. You're that
guy too. Dan, I'm with you on this one.
I don't want to live in a future where robots start ordering me to load them with soap.
I am 40 and you're older than me now. I'm going to tell you right now, if the robots come up and uprising, there's no way I'm surviving anyway. Like, I can't run to the mailbox before the mailman runs away, like drives away. Like, I can't do that at the moment. So it doesn't fucking matter. At this point, let the robots take over. Let them take over. What's the point? It's not like I'm going to survive anyway. Have you seen those? Have you seen those robots doing the market right now?
This shit up.
Like, what is it? The Boston Dynamics robots? Like, they show those videos of them dancing, and now they've got they're like nimble as crap. I'm like, what do you want? What do you want?
I don't know. I've got Inbox Zero on my washing machine.
I mean, it's. I mean, at one point, what is it? We had the buttons, right? We had the Amazon buttons that no one used. But like, if the purpose was you had them, you put it over your washer when you were out of Tide or whatever. You hit the button, it would just automatically order it. Like,
because it was so freaking hard to add to cart on my Amazon phone. Like, that was too much work.
Yeah,
I just push a button. Now Dan's right. I want my washer to order new soap and the robot to load it, and never even I want to throw my laundry down to the basement and someone else do it. That's really what I want. It comes back up folded.
This guy.
You had a Fire phone. No. I've been in the Apple ecosystem since.
Yeah, no.
The iPhone 2.
We have a buddy of ours that had a Fire phone.
Yeah, he had a Fire phone for a short amount of time, and he didn't pay for cellular service, and then was like, "It's easy. All you got to do is glom on to anyone's Wi-Fi." So I never gave him the Wi-Fi password.
Yeah, he was a buddy of ours that would go to conventions and had no data plan.
No data plan. So we wouldn't be able to get in touch with them all the time.
He was like, I'm just going to hop on everyone's Wi-Fi. And of course, you can never get on Wi-Fi and never miss our message.
You kick them right off. Just kick them off.
Oh, man. Fire phones. Oh, my God. Yeah, no, but I get it. I mean, so your washer and dryer.
So we wound up buying some simple ones with knobs. So one of the things about touchscreens as well, and it happens to our stove. We've got the LG stove that's got the touchscreen. If the lights are not on, it's hard to even see the buttons and settings, right? Because they're just not backlit. They're not.
It's just cheap. Like that's like half.
It's not cheap. These are 12.
No. That's not your
washers.
fault. That's what I'm saying. That's not your fault.
Just get a Whirlpool. Rio's like, shut up and get a Whirlpool. I actually got an Amana, which is the off-brand Whirlpool.
It is. Yeah, it is.
It's the cheap Whirlpool.
That's okay though.
That's replacing our Kenmores, which are not even made in the market anymore. For the record, there's no Kenmores out there.
We have our
all knobs.
My washing machine, my dishwashing machine. I found on like Marketplace from like a guy that I was like, he dented it and they bought it for like an apartment, and I bought it for $60 and it was brand new. I like unpacked it and installed it, and it's like the best thing I've purchased for $60. Like, I was like, the best thing ever.
Dishwashers are great. They're the best.
When you get a brand new washer, it's the best.
Do you live alone? Do you really need to bake 36 cookies? So I'll do you one better, Rolls. What if the stove is like, you look sad, I will now bake you 36 cookies? Like, which one's sadder? Or you get a little text notifications like, I know you're on your way home. Cookies are in the oven.
This is what it is. What it is first off, let's start the chain at Rough Ride. You had a bad day at work, so your watch takes a blood sample and notices like your levels of
sugar levels are dropped.
Sugar levels are dropped. It feels that you're depressed. You get the notification, "Are you sad?" And you're like, "Oh," it takes your heart rate, and that knows your heart rate and your blood content.
So now it knows you're lying when you're like.
So now it sends it to your ecosystem and all of your devices at home. The lights have mooted down. It plays your favorite album. It loads Die Hard onto the freaking TV.
Puts the toaster next to the
toaster. It automatically it sends your order to your Chinese food delivery place to deliver at 6 p.m. And then the cookies come out of the that's the ambitious world we want to live in, right?
No, that's not the ambitious world. Why can't you program it to text your friend and be like, "Yo, Cautious is sad. Give him a call."
Because it's killed all your friends.
Because you killed.
It's killed all your friends. That's why. What do you think the cookies are made of?
I've seen that Black Mirror episode. You're totally right. More like, you look sad, should I get those pizza rolls going? Or you look sad, should I get another box of pizza rolls going?
Yes, you should. Yes, you should.
Yeah, robot.
I mean, if we're already going with ecosystems of all of these like devices, right? Like, why haven't we gotten to the point where my stove is made by Samsung and my fridge is made of Samsung? Why can't I like go eggs and it just like the eggs are put into the cartridge for eggs in the Samsung and it shoots it out across the kitchen. It shoots it onto the like frying pan on my Samsung range and just cooks them. Like why can't it do that? Why match appliances if I can't get ecosystem that talks to each other?
I don't know, but then you'd have to get a Samsung phone to translate for you, right?
Right.
It's a problem, right?
Oof. Yeah, that would be tough.
Cautious is scared the Matrix is going to no.
We're already living in the Matrix.
Bring it on.
We're already in it.
If this was a simulation, I would be so happy. Like, I would be like, oh, this all makes sense now. They're torturing us. This makes sense.
So anyway, you would just accept it at this point?
Relief. I'm the only happy person in the Matrix.
Yep. Yep, that's exactly it right there.
Oh, beautiful. Fantastic. Give me the video games in the VR. Don't disrespect technology.
Oh, man.
So I read this, and maybe other people know Netflix is getting into mobile gaming. Is that so? They've got a streaming service that they're planning to do. Yeah, I just wanted to end it on this, right? So now everyone is in gaming, right? Amazon's made a try. Apple's got gaming. So I guess Netflix is the latest of latecomers to the game. They're going to do some mobile gaming stuff on there.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, sure, okay.
You're like, sure, okay.
At this point, like, Netflix, I'm good. It's such a non-story at this point now. Like,
Amazon got Luna, yeah.
Oh, well, they've got Luna, but
Apple has Apple Arcade.
So Luna is their streaming, but that's not their first, right? So they had Amazon Game Studios, right? Mm-hmm. And I mean, we heard, was it a week or two ago, there was rumbling of all of like the way that they were treating their developers and like the big NDA of like the stuff that they created had to be owned by them. Like, it's just all of these like awful like contractual
Lex Luthor type Jeff Bezos bullshit.
Yeah. So the developers were like not happy about that kind of crap, and so that's why you don't see many studios like happy that they're owned by Amazon or that everyone's like, ooh, let's make a game for Amazon Game Studios. They're not even existent, right? And then they bought Twitch. I mean the service that you're watching this on right now, is owned by Amazon. So like. Mm-hmm. It's not, Luna might be new, but they've been around for a while. Netflix, on the other hand, it seems to be, Netflix has played it safe, right? Like Netflix, they jumped in and did the did he land? Did anyone know if he landed?
Yeah, they did. They came back. We didn't shoot it down.
God dang it! Came back, I'm waiting for one of these billionaires to just blow up.
So I asked the wife. I was like, Is it bad that I don't want him to come back? Like, does that make me a bad person? It does, obviously, but still.
I didn't even know because I got the notification on my phone that said he lifted off, but I never saw that he landed safely.
Yeah, came back and gave a press conference at a cowboy hat, thanking Amazon and Amazon employees for paying for the trip. Literally,
did he say that?
Yeah, he did. Can we talk about the guy who bought the $28 million ticket and had a scheduling conflict, so someone else got the ticket?
Someone else took the ticket.
Can we take that, everybody, and really hold on to it as an example of how capitalism has gone completely wrong? That someone is too busy making money, I assume, to go into space. Isn't that wild? I bought a ticket and I'm not going to be able to make it.
I'll take the next one.
I'll take the next one. I'll take the next one. $28 million.
I am. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a depressing moment right there.
Some 18-year-old kid that stepped in and spent the cash. Never have I hated someone's face so much as that New York Times when he was there. I feel bad because I was like, man, if I was 18, I would be thrilled to be launched into space, but not like that. Not like that. And that's how I know it's a simulation, everybody, right? That feels like a crime put upon us by the robots.
So I didn't read the 18. I knew that there was an 18-year-old, but did anyone get like who he was, what he was, like who was this kid? Was he like
child of somebody? His resume was essentially my dad and family are super rich, and I'm enjoying my year. What do they call it? The gap year. Rich people call it when they don't go straight to college or work out of high school. He's doing his gap year, and as one of his gap year activities, he's flying to space. Yeah, because he got second place on the ticket, right? Because some a-hole had scheduling conflicts. Jesus Christ!
Was there a refund?
I don't know. I don't know.
How is it that we're now making space travel and we still make non-refundable tickets? Jesus Christ. Can you believe it? Can you believe this? Non-refundable tickets on a whole
buying a $28 million ticket and be like, oh shit, I forgot I had a dentist appointment. Can I move? No, non-refundable. Fuck. It's $28 million. Yes, I know, Rio. It's a broad definition of space travel for sure, right? We don't want these people in space. We want them enjoying some anti-gravity feats and competing skyscraper style against each other to be in space. And
so I know
they all call each other and make fun.
Richard Branson did it last week, right? Like he went up to space and then came down.
Oh, fuck that guy too.
Yeah. I mean, they're all these guys, right? And then Jeff Bezos went up to space today. And then what's so funny is I love that Elon Musk hasn't. I think what makes me happier is knowing that that Elon Musk hasn't gone up there and he owns a company that actually puts rockets into space and he hasn't gone up there.
Mm-hmm.
It's becoming sweet.
Must be eating him inside.
Yeah, it must be eating him inside. He's like trying. He's like in the backyard sitting on a seesaw right now, getting
playing with this flamethrower, burning something. Right,
that's trying to like light a trash can and just send him to space right now.
My theory is that Elon is scared of heights. You might be right, or he's done the math and is like it's not worth the risk. Right? Maybe he's just like it. I don't want to go on one of my rockets. That's insane. So maybe that's it. Where are they going?
Well, I mean, I wouldn't want to drive one of his cars either. They're built like crap too.
I've seen that rocket. I'm not getting in there.
Exactly.
That's exactly right.
He doesn't want to get into anything he builds.
Stupid Elon Musk. Hate them all. Boo! Boo! Capitalism! Boo! Boo! Capitalism! You suck! You suck, capitalism! Stop it!
Suck.
So, on that note, it's killing us all. That's it, right?
That's it. I don't think we have anything else to talk about.
It's always good to end the show booing billionaires, I think, is the way we should end every show from now on.
I'll end it with this real quick. Just to
we're going to throw something up there real quick.
Real quick. We talked about the big Unicron that was $500. Here is Hasbro's HasLab's new Galactus figure.
32-inch Devourer.
They're looking for $5.6 million.
That's like one mold. Holy cow! $5.6 million. Is that what they're? That's a drawing.
No. That's a prototype.
What?
So I'll show you what the size he is. That's the size of a normal figure.
That's pretty cool.
So
32 inches tall, almost a full meter.
Yep. It's a big boy. Big old Galactus figure. That's a cool figure.
It's pretty cool. It's the kind of toy I would dream of, but then I don't get to pretend to be Galactus when I was a 9-year-old, right? That's when I did with it. You pick him up and stomp him and throw the G.I. Joes at your brother. It was great.
That's right. That's right.
How much are they charging for this doll again?
It is $400.
And it's not a doll, Go Astronaut Go. It's an action.
It's a collectible. God.
Oh.
It's not a doll.
It's got articulated fingers. Come on.
It does, actually. It's
195 points of articulation just in the hand. Does it at least poop or cry? No, it crushes planets.
Yeah. Well, Galactus, it poops out stardust when it's done, you know.
It makes Silver Surfer make an impossible decision. Come on, man.
I definitely do want like a tiny Silver Surfer figure to like sit on his like finger. So he's like holding him like this, and it's just like a tiny little.
What you want. I want to recreate the cover of Fantastic Four, right? That's what you want.
Yeah, just holding the Earth. Yeah.
We had the same conversation. Yes.
That's right. It's exactly
because Rio. It's the Matrix.
That's exactly why I brought it up, right? Because we talked about the fact that HasLabs had the they did the big $575
Didn't they also did that one? Didn't they also do like Jabba the Hutt's like sand barge? Didn't they do that one as well in the Star Wars figures?
They're famous for they did the big sand barge.
These real boutique. I've got some money to spend. Kind of awesome.
Yeah, it's the geek who needs it all, who has it all, and needs more.
Well, you should probably save their pennies and buy a $1.5 million Super Mario Kart game, right? That's what we should.
That's just be 18 and get on Bezos's list to get him. You know what would have made it even worse? If it had been like one of the Logan brothers or some shit, like one of the YouTube
YouTube jerks.
Jerks paid it. It's like oh, like you've got all these physics major, rocket scientists that are like dreaming to go to space. Like they do it because they want to go to space one day, and then you get some like YouTuber dude punches people in the nuts. Go up there.
Yeah. He's like, whoa, I didn't realize there were so many stars, bro. And you're like,
bruh. Mom, bruh.
I hate it so much. Anyway. I wonder if it takes everyone its batteries.
Everything.
All right, Dan. That's enough of that.
That's what he wants. That's what he wants it. We don't deny him that.
No, I do if it's the only option I have, right? Because it's forced upon me. All right, folks. This has been the Mid-Geek Crisis here.
Yep.
Like,
subscribe, share.
Subscribe, share.
Yeah. There we go. Oh, man. What are you playing real quick?
What am I playing? Spyro the Dragon.
You're running through Spyro, right? The
part 2. That's what I'm doing right now. Yep.
You're in part 2. I loaded Blood Roots. We talked about that.
Yeah, we're going to kick that off. Pergamene got Genshin Impact this week, playing games that people have played for a while. That's a good one.
Yeah, it's a good one to play.
Hours already. I need to finish Cat Quest and Chris Tales. All solid games, everyone. Good games.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sundays we're back at Rainbow Six Siege, by the way, which not to be confused with X Defiant, but we'll talk about that next week, right? We should talk about that next week.
I forgot all about that.
We railed on that game before the show.
Railed on it. It's so bad. I picked up. I got a couple physical copies. I got Shantae. I picked up a physical copy of that.
Don't open that, man. That's gonna be worth like $300 someday.
Nah, because I already have it on digital.
You already have it on digital.
That run, baby.
Oh my god, get out of here with that crap. You're ruining the hobby. You're part of the problem.
No.
You're part of the problem.
The chair's open right now.
Every time you buy a limited run game, you create that need. You ruin it for everybody else. It just released today. I love it. All right, folks. Have a good one.
Take care, everyone.
Yeah.
Another episode in the can.
Yeah.
Take care.
Be kind.